Hey, this is Coach Brad Page. This week we're looking at design quarterback runs. And so a lot of inspiration came. I went to the Air Force and Army game and really just got a ton of ideas and things. And looking back on some of the film, came up with some of the things. And so I just wanted to kind of do a deep dive on some of these things that I've really seen kind of a trend, at least with the teams we play and things that we want to do is be able to use our quarterback more in the run game and design quarterback runs, not just read option or scrambling, things like that, but actually allowing him to get the ball. And I've seen from my perspective, a lot of times you get more misdirection out of it and you can get some extra blockers in. And so, as we all know, Army and Navy do a great job running the ball, and Air Force. So this this little concept I kind of came up with and did some tweaks on, but it's kind of a we'll do a little deep dive into it. One thing that I've really liked is seeing, rather than just having the entire team blocking one direction and doing that, there's a lot more misdirection that happens. And if you're, being able to get a team with some outside zone tosses, sweeps, or speed option, things like that, it's really good to have that counter, to pull some guys away and then to be able to run something back underneath. And so, kind of did my own little variation on this, but this would kind of be like a GF counter with a fullback. And so I've come from a lot of background with more spread and air raid, and I've forced myself to become more versed in some of this run game stuff, and just out of necessity and because I feel like it's such a great weapon. And so this is a heavy personnel set. We got two backs, two tight ends, and then one receiver flexed out, and they're in the pistol. And so I've really liked. I've seen a lot of teams been doing it this year, and we actually put in a package with this as well. And so it's something that I want to continue to do. But an idea here is, you have your strength lined up with your fullback and your tight end, and receiver to that side. And so being able to sell the speed option here to this running back, is something that, because you can just do a toss, you can do some sort of speedo, you have this fullback, you have the triple option, all these things going to the strength. And so it's important to have some sort of counter coming back. And so this play, one thing that we might try to do next season, we'll see, but, getting into more counter and things like that. But basically, what we're going to do, we'll just start here with the front side. So they're going to sell like they're running outside zone or speedo that way. And so what we're going to have is our guard and our fullback are going to be coming counter back. And so big thing for me and what I like to teach is anytime you have a puller, is are you able to cover that puller? So if it's a blitzer, a lineman, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you can cover that puller, because otherwise you're going to leave a hole wide open here. And so when we have our guards pulling, whether on power or counter, whatever it is, it's nice to have, the center to be able to cover that pull. He's going to block backside. We're going to hinge this side just in case we get a DN that pinches or something like that, because it's going to leave the B gap open. So this tackle has to make sure this end is covered. And if they do bring some extra heat and blitz, we're hoping that we're going to create enough of a wall here or counter. But a lot of it's backside, trying to create. If we can get a double team and combo up to the backers, that's huge, because that helps. Just getting some movement. But one thing that linemen have to understand is you got to get off the double team. You got to communicate. And so that's one area that, I'd like to get better at, is being able to communicate with our combo blocks and who's getting off. But we're going to combo backside, and then we're going to pull this guy, and he's going to kick out, and we're going to have this U back go right here. And so I call it, if we have two tight ends, then I'll often, call one the Y, one the U, whatever you want to call them. I know there's different opinions on that. This fullback is going to come back underneath and become a lead block, and he's going to kick out if they have any kind of look like this. And so this was kind of the look that Air Force did versus Army, and this play did end up working for him. I made some tweaks to it just out of some ideas with it. So the quarterback, he faked the pitch right here, and then he followed back, and then he's running underneath here. The difference with what Air Force did is they actually ran like a power to the strengths side, and then they just had the fullback coming back. And I felt like they were missing one guy to kind of help on that backside, because they kind of were able to slow it down. The misdirection was great, but the linebackers were able to fly to it. And so Just good on them having good eyes and everything, because I would have thought that puller would have led them. But I think that this will open up a nice hole here, especially if you're getting a lot of that toss action to the strong side. Having this counter backside is huge, and then these safeties, they'll work on that. But having these guys, I've seen it often in that game, both sides, where this tailback going out wide, he's pulling someone with them because they have to account for him. Otherwise, they're just going to get killed on the edge. And so having some sort of counter to every outside zone, strong side play, I think is really important. So I'm going to continue to do deep dives on these quarterback runs this week and see what we can find. What I find fascinating, there's a few other concepts that I've drawn up and have really liked. And like I said, for me, it's just studying that game and seeing what these guys do so well. And I think that's a major trend right now in football, is just the design quarterback runs, more so than I've seen in the past. And so it's something I don't want to fall behind on. And we also, if you have an athletic quarterback, let him run the ball, because it just gives you one more guy to be able to, have blocking for him and things like that. Thanks for watching.